What's up, guys? Nintenjoel coming back at you after a slight little break. I know I usually put out, 2 videos a week, definitely one a week for sure, pretty religiously actually, and I kind of got burnt out with life. I had a lot going on, and some negative experiences happened, and yeah, it just was kind of a tough time. I know not a lot of YouTubers are like really honest about their personal life and stuff. I'm not going to go into any details or not, but I was just having kind of a rough time there for a while, and still kind of am, honestly. My life has just turned upside down a little bit lately, and August is already kind of a tough month for me all the time anyways, so yeah. But I'm working through it, and I'm actually going to do a couple pickup videos in a row to get them knocked out, and this one's a little bit different. It's going to be a little shorter than usual because this is just one pickup I got last night. You guys know this is unusual because I never film pickups immediately, but I kind of wanted to because a couple of these games are getting traded, and it was a really good deal, so I just wanted to kind of show you guys that kind of a video to hold you guys over until another pickup comes out, which I should be actually filming tonight as well if everything goes well. That was the other thing that's kind of delayed me as well. Last couple times I tried filming, it was just kind of a tough time and couldn't get things set up right, couldn't get the camera right, and couldn't find my words. So I guess that's just me being very truthful with my audience and letting you guys know what's going on. I don't plan on taking a huge break or anything like that. I'm going to try to see if I can just keep powering through it, but like I said, August is a real weird month for me. So anyways, long story short, got a call from a buddy named Dan, and he basically said, hey, I'm going to this pre-yard sale tonight. Do you want to go also? And I had to work, and he said it was taking place at 7 at night, and I didn't get off till 9. So he said that he would go ahead and ask them if I can come at 9, and turns out he couldn't make it. So he called them for me and asked if I can go at 9 o'clock in his stead and just pick up some games myself. He was a bit low on money and just couldn't really make it. So yeah, I went ahead and took his advice. Didn't even know what the hell they had or anything. Just knew they had old games and that it was fairly cheap. Drove out a city over to White City and went inside. It was like a 15-year-old kid, and I guess his mom knew about it too. She was selling them, but she didn't want to come out. She was like in the back bedroom, and yeah, so the kid just kind of did the negotiating, and he knew what they wanted for it, and I got a really good deal. So here's what I got. So, to make a long story short, sorry about that. So I went inside, and he said, here's the box with the Super Nintendo. I was like, sweet, Super Nintendo. And yeah, I was pretty stoked about the first game that I saw. Was sitting on top. I'll tell you which one when we come to it. But the very first game that was on top was upside down. I turned it over and was just like, hell yes. So I actually didn't really pay attention to the Super Nintendo. I was more interested in the games. But when I took home the Super Nintendo, I was like, wow, this thing is freaking beautiful. This is honestly one of the nicest Super Nintendos I've ever seen. It has just got slight yellowing there, and there's something loose in there. I'll probably open it up and find out what it is, but it works just fine. It was dirty as hell. Everything that was in here was dirty as hell. But yeah, I just couldn't believe what good shape this was and how gray it was. That's freaking amazing. So I got the Super Nintendo. It did have the original power cord, which is great. It's an awesome shape. Love that. And it did have not the coaxial cable, but it had the AV cables instead, which is kind of cool. I kind of like the AV cables. And yeah, so there's that. And then it didn't come with 1 or 2 or 3 or... yeah, it didn't come with 3 controllers. It came with 4 controllers. I was just going to keep going and counting there. Didn't come with 5 or 6. Came with 4. Yeah, came with 4 Super Nintendo controllers. I haven't even tested them all out yet, but the one that I did try did work just fine. This one's really crusty. It's got all kinds of gunk on it. Don't even really want to touch it. Some of these games, no joke, took me a long time to clean. A couple were really crusty. And on top of the Super Nintendo stuff, he actually didn't have change for what he was asking. And so I said, hey, can you throw in a couple controllers for $5 then? And he was like, sure. So he actually threw in a Nintendo controller. And this is cool as shit. Haven't seen one of these since I was a kid. NES Max controllers. These things are freaking awesome. Looking and feeling. They react like shit, though. just cool to see, keeping that for sure. And then the 10 games. Oh, and it did come with 4 of these sleeves that I just kind of keep around. I don't know what the hell to do with these. I don't use them. The way my shelf is set up, they don't really fit really well, and yeah. So, and their backs, the cartridge backs are against the back of my shelf and never really exposed to dust. So I don't really worry about the dust covers too much. Anywho, the 10 games. So most of these were cheapo. A few of them I just needed because I didn't have them. First one is Jack Nicklaus Golf. I don't actually have this, so I'm probably just going to keep this. Why not? Or maybe trade it. I don't know. Games like that, I'm never sure if I should keep or not. Super Caesar's Palace. I actually am going to keep this because I have a copy of this, but the label's fucked up. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that. And I've never played either of those games. Also never played this, but my buddy Kevin was just telling me that he likes fishing games, and I've had a couple people say that they're okay, but Super Black Bass, yep, gonna keep that one as well. And a game that I don't have, surprisingly, and I actually thought this game was a little more spendy. Apparently it's only a few bucks, but Jungle Book, and this is one of those weird, assembled in Mexico with the no label on the back where it's actually engraved, and yeah, made a boo-boo, didn't notice that, and tried to wipe the cover with, you know, my very slightly moistened alcohol cloth that I usually use on, you know, good label games, and yeah, it smeared. I was just like, oh, this is one of those crappy labels. I need to really pay attention. That was a fuck up. So yeah, awesome. And then we have a game that I was surprised was actually worth $7 or $8. I thought this would be a dollar game for sure. And this was covered in stickers. Man, I should have took a before and after shot. This was covered in Blockbuster stickers. Cool spot. Yeah, I never run into that game for some freaking weird reason. And this one is another label upgrade, kind of like Caesar's Palace. I have a copy of Aladdin, but it's kind of messed up. It's just really faded and ugly, and so yeah. So Disney's Aladdin, if you guys have never played that, that is a really good game. Disney games actually do have a good rap on Super Nintendo. They're good games, they really are. They're truly fun games. And I'd have to say Disney's Aladdin is definitely one of the better ones, although Sega Genesis version is better. Not many times you will hear me say that something Sega is better than Nintendo, even though I do love Sega. Generally, I think that Super Nintendo sounds and looks a little bit better for the most part. Well, especially sounds. Yeah, so anyways, there were 4 more games. Bam! The obligatory Super Mario World. There's always a copy in the Super Nintendo lot, but this one's in really, really clean shape. So that's nice. This might even be cleaner than my copy. I don't know. There's a little bit of gunk right there, but whatever. Dude, the Mario games, you know, I always think of them as $10 each. Like, I've thought about Mario games as being $10 each for, like, years because they were. It's like, now even Mario Duck Hunt's like a $5 game? Like, that used to be literally pennies on the dollar, and now Mario World and this next game that I got, Mario All-Stars, like, religiously sells on Amazon for like $20 or more. Fucking crazy, man. These games are like the most common games there are. These are everywhere. They're literally, and any time you find a Super Nintendo, probably 75% of the time, there's going to be 1 or 2 or both of these games, and yet they are now $20 each. That's driving me fucking up the wall. Yeah, sorry I swear so much on this program. I know not a lot of kids watch me, but for the ones that do, sorry about that. Just being honest with my feelings. Okay, so the 2 good games that I got were pretty darn good. And, you know, this is another example. Here's another example. Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Good God, this game goes for $30, $35 now. This game is also everywhere. I mean, most NES or SNES lots that I get have a copy of Link to the Past. And, you know, still, it's treated as if it's an uncommon game. This is not an uncommon game, folks. Yes, but very, very clean copy of Zelda. Shall be selling this one locally. Yeah, save file works and everything. Really cool to see such a nice, clean copy. Well, it wasn't clean when I got it. I had to actually clean the shit out of it, but it cleaned up nicely. Oh, okay, so this is when I walked in and looked at the box, and I picked up the first game and turned it over. I was like, holy shit, yeah, I'll take this. And the first game that I saw, and the last one I'm showing you today, is Secret of Mana. So yeah, this is all a really good price, really like dirt cheap. I'm not going to say the price, but it was dirt cheap. And Secret of Mana, fuck yes. This one's already going to a buddy. You guys know Jake. I always trade with him, and he's got his own YouTube channel. But he's been looking for Secret Mana for a really long time, and I gave him a really good deal on it. So yeah, and the rest of these, for the most part, I'm keeping except for the Marios and the Zelda. So that's it. Short pickup this time. Didn't want to take up a lot of time. Like I said, this is just one of those kind of in-between videos. I just wanted to kind of pump this one out, and we're going to get another pickup video straight out to you guys right away. I'm not sure if it's going to be the very next video, but if not, it'll be the one right after that. So yeah, that's it. Super Nintendo lot. Hell yeah. Didn't pay much for it. Thanks, Dan, for the heads up. Really appreciate that. That's what's cool about the gaming community is, like, you know, sometimes I do that too. If I can't reach a sale, or, you know, there's something that I see on Craigslist that kicks ass and I'm broke, I will pass it on to a friend. Named Jake, for instance, I've gotten a hold of him and said, hey, do you need this? I don't have the money. And, you know, it's just nice to be able to do that, and I appreciate when other people do that for other people. The gaming community is really cool sometimes, and it's neat how we can help each other out with our collections, and yeah, pretty neat shit. So enough of the wishy-washy, lovey-dovey stuff. Thank you guys very much for watching. If you liked the episode, please give a thumbs up. It's down there as well as the subscribe button. It's down there too. I'm very tongue-tied today, but you know, this episode had to get put out anyway, so forgive my tongue-tiedness. And yeah, like I said, if you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. And yeah, question of the day: what is the best Super Nintendo or like Nintendo score you've ever scored? But especially Super Nintendo, because I've scored some really, really good Super Nintendo scores before. I might actually have to talk about that one day. Just like a little talk about some of the scores that I got like way back in the past before I actually started YouTubing. There was one time I got a Super Nintendo lot for $8, and it had like Final Fantasy III and like Legend of Zelda and like 10 other games that were really good, and the lady was just like, $8. I was like, sweet, whatever. They had a nice house. They didn't need the money, so I freaking ran out of there quick. But yeah, I've got lots of stories like that. I want to know your stories. Do you guys have a super sweet SNES lot that you've ever picked up that you'll like never forget about? Yeah, go ahead and leave a comment below. That would be amazing. And let me know what you guys thought of the episode, and hopefully you guys are looking forward to more episodes, because here they come. Thank you very much for watching, and keep rocking the retro games.